I am the youngest of four, and my dad comes from a family of 12, and my mom a family of 6. I've just always grown up around big families. Elena and I had been married not quite 2 years, and we were both working at Cracker Barrel, and we were living in a 750 square foot apartment, and knew that we felt like it was the Lord's time for us to try to start a family. Tide changed our lives for the better. He's a great kid, and he was a good first to have. He was a good experience to have. He was a couple years old, and we were ready to see if we could have another, and Elena went through a lot of infertility issues to the point where we had tried for a couple of years, and we're starting to get a little worried that maybe something was wrong. And so after her going to the doctor, we found out that she did indeed have some pretty serious issues that required surgery. Once the surgeon got in, he found some things that were even worse than what he originally had thought. And we found out she had a cancerous tumor. It was called a carcinoid tumor. You normally don't find it until you're in your 50s or 60s because it's very slow growing. What we thought was, something very hard to deal with, a trial in our life, turned out to be a blessing. They found it very early. Not long after, we got the news that we were pregnant. And when we got to the doctor, you could see it as clear as day on the screen. She said, "There's 2 heartbeats." She's like, "Congratulations, there's 2. So we were shocked more than anything, but super excited. There was no medication, there was no drugs, there was no treatments. God just blessed us. Copper and Tatum are obviously unique names. When Elena went through all this, there was an OB doctor that is one of the best around here, and she pulled her nurse in and prayed, which meant the world to us. And her name's Copper Newman. And so Copper was named after her. Tatum's name comes from the road that we lived on at the time that we found out we were pregnant. We lived on Tatum Road. And so we used those 2 names to mark the miracle that God had brought us through. We found out that we were pregnant again. Again, super excited. The boys were all excited. January 11th was the day of my birthday. Elena had a doctor's appointment that morning, and she went in, and I got the call that day about lunch that there was no heartbeat. And you feel alone. God doesn't promise that life will be easy, but He does promise He'll never leave you. And He didn't. He was there every step of the way. And looking back, you can see the times that He walked with you. You can see the times He carried you. So Crockett came in almost a year after Cotton. He's our rainbow baby for sure. He's proof that God does keep His promises. We're just so thankful that God allowed us to have another shot, and He makes us complete. All my kids are very unique, and God has blessed us through each one. We're just so blessed to have those 4 boys, and that 5th one day we'll get to see in heaven. So.